time to go over to one of our favorite segments. It's our What's Up, a Doc segment. And here, I'll read the little blurb they had prepared for me here. Choosing costumes, decorating pumpkins, and getting special treats brings joy to many children at Halloween. Some Halloween traditions may look different this year to keep everyone safe during COVID-19. However, there's still plenty of ways families can have fun avoiding the scare of being exposed to the spreading virus, including safe trick-or-treating. Here to explain how we can enjoy Halloween and upcoming holidays safety this year is Dr. John Hart, pediatrician at Mercy Health. Dr. Hart, how are you doing this morning?
Very good. How are you, sir?
We're doing great. Thanks for joining us. I think we're in week 17 or 18 of our What's Up Doc segment here, and it's been great. It's been fun every week. You guys have been awesome. And the way we start them all is getting to know you. So give us a little blurb. What would be on your resume? Where'd you come from? Your schooling? Whatnot? What's your deal, doctor?
Okay. Well, I've been here in Rockford now for 28 years. I trained back east, Syracuse University, undergrad, New York Medical College, New York City. Did my pediatric internship and residency at a Cornell Hospital, North Shore University Hospital. And then we were in Richmond, Virginia for 2 years while my wife did further training, and then Bridgeport, Connecticut for 6 years, then here.
Your wife also a doctor?
Yes, she is. She did neonatology, sick and premature newborns.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. What brought you to the Rockford area 28 years ago?
Jobs.
Very good, very good. And how'd you get steered into the pediatrician wing of medicine?
I've always liked kids. I went in. That was my whole goal when I went into medicine, was to do pediatrics. So I mean, that was just what I was going to do.
From day one,
just loved kids and being with kids, and so.
Day one, you knew you wanted to treat kids. What kind of candy do you have in your office? Is it just regular suckers, or have you upgraded?
Basically, just regular safety suckers. Yeah.
Okay.
We give the kids that, and we give them stickers. And
stickers.
Make them feel better after they get their immunizations and stuff.
That's probably one of the top 10 flavors in the world is a safety sucker after you got your shot when you were 6 years old.
Definitely.
That was excellent. So all right, so let's get into Halloween season and keeping kids safe. With the increase of cases, how should parents monitor for symptoms of COVID in their kids? And does this differ from our seasonal flu?
Unfortunately, it really doesn't. A lot of the signs and symptoms of COVID-19 in children are very similar to other infections and non-infectious processes, including influenza, strep throat, and allergic rhinitis. And then about something between 16 and 45% of the kids who have COVID-19 are asymptomatic. And so this lack of specificity of signs and symptoms and the significant proportion of asymptomatic children make symptom-based screening identification of COVID in children kind of challenging. About 56% of the kids with COVID are going to present with fever, about 54% with cough. Now, that's 80% in adults. 25 to 28% present with headaches, sore throat, body aches. About 13% of kids will present with shortness of breath. Now, adults, that's much higher, about 43%. And then about 13% of the kids present with diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, and about another 7 or 8% present with runny nose and abdominal pain.
Yeah, you mentioned the runny nose. I mean, that's kind of cliche. Little kids with runny noses. Is there a difference of severity of a runny nose? Different times of the day?
No, it's a runny nose is a runny nose, unfortunately. And that's the problem. You can't say, well, this is, he's got a clear runny nose, so this is allergies, versus a clear runny nose that this is COVID, or this is influenza. So you got it becomes very difficult. And so we are, the recommendations for screening kids, the CDC gives you 2 reasons. They say if you've had close contact within 6 feet of somebody who, for a total of 15 minutes or more, with a laboratory confirmed case of COVID, or increased likelihood for exposure, and that includes with living or traveling to a community with substantial transmission. Now, you get these kids, and you've got all these schools, so kid goes to school nurse and says they got a sore throat. Well, they're sent home, and the school nurse says you've got to have a COVID test. before you can come back.
Right, and we've talked to a lot of doctors about testing. And when I personally, I just had my very first COVID test yesterday. I had my rapid test, came back negative, thankfully. The pediatrician world is our results the same accuracy with kids than we have with adults, and should kids go get tested with the same thresholds that adults are?
I would say they get with the same threshold as adults. The rapid tests, some of those are not as accurate as the intranasal, so you can get false negatives with them. Mm-hmm. So we are still recommending, at least at this point, doing the intranasal swabs.
And this doesn't have to do necessarily with pediatricians here, but I do have you on the phone here. Yesterday, when I went in for my rapid test, I was fully prepared to spit in a tube, but they had the nasal swab rapid test from Abbott Labs. Is there an opinion on that in the medical community?
I'm not really an expert on that. What I do know is the tests that are looking for the antigen are not as accurate as the ones that are actually looking for the virus in the nasal swab ones.
Gotcha.
That's what I've been told.
Gotcha. So you still recommend kids do the same test that everyone else is doing?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's have you on the topic at hand, Halloween around the corner. First up, I'll ask you a personal question. Do you have children?
My children are all grown, so pretty much, not really young ones at home anymore.
Well, let's rewind a little bit to back when they were young. If they were young today, would you, as a physician, send your kids out trick-or-treating this Halloween?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't think there's any way to be for them to be safe or me to be safe to be handing out candy for that traditional trick-or-treating. I just don't think it's a safe thing.
So when they gave me my follow-up questions for you for what precautions do trick-or-treaters take this year, the precaution would be not to do it.
That's what would be the safest thing. I mean, if you look at it, we are running about over 12% positive rate in Winnebago County. They're running up to 23% in Wisconsin. 91 schools in the county have positive cases of COVID. There's about 350 cases, 100 teachers, the rest are students. We just don't need this to spread more.
Unnecessary risk, basically.
Yeah, it's basically, why do we need to take the risk? Think about it. If it were a rainy, cold day, would you send your kids out trick-or-treating?
No, we had this problem last year. You remember last year, we had a blizzard on Halloween.
Right.
And that effectively canceled Halloween for a bunch of kids last year.
Right.
Because it wasn't...
Was it a disaster that they didn't go out? No.
No.
No. They got some. We gave them some candy, and they were probably just as happy staying home and getting the candy than going out.
I 100% agree with you on that one. But I will. So Halloween, maybe not a necessary risk to take to send your kids out. What's your feelings on school? Is that a necessary risk to get our kids back and live in school?
That's a difficult question. I think that if I had kids, I would think really twice about doing in-person education. I think I would be one of the people who would opt for the remote learning.
Is there a time? Are there numbers? You mentioned, the 12%, 25%. Is there a positivity rate, that magic number that you would feel comfortable sending your kid to school?
I think if we were back down somewhere in the 5% or less, maybe, I would feel much more comfortable. We've got kids. We send them to school, and they come home, and a lot of times with parents work, who babysits them? Well, grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
And who is at the increased risk of bad outcomes from COVID? Is senior citizens.
Absolutely.
And so we're putting our families at undue risks. You get the kids pick up COVID from school. Well, now everyone in the house has got to isolate for 10 to 14 days.
Right.
So look at all you can't go to work for 14 days.
Right, which leads me to this. If there is concern that your kid was exposed, I know adults we're supposed to do these full 10-day quarantines until your test comes back. Whatever, kids still
Same thing.
same thing.
Same thing. You send them for the test. You're basically, if you're saying the kid is exposed, the whole family's got to quarantine for at least 48 hours until we get the test back.
Yep, and still, kids are overwhelmingly asymptomatic when they pick up the COVID.
About somewhere between 16 and 45% of kids are totally asymptomatic.
Okay, so
that makes a big problem. Even bring them into the office to do exams and stuff. Because remember, over about half of those kids that are coming in for the routine physical could be carrying COVID.
Yeah, what kind of precautions are you taking at your office, at your pediatrician's office?
Well, I wear a face shield. I use an N95 mask. We glove. If we think there is a real risk of COVID, we definitely put a gown on. Sometimes if we're worried about a kid, we'll even see them out in the parking lot rather than bringing them into the office.
Gotcha. A lot of precautions there. So, Dr. John Hart, basically, I think the moral of your story is Halloween. Maybe we take a break from that this year and celebrate, at home if you need to with your family. Put on a nice movie.
There's a lot of different. You can go on the web and find a lot of really safe things to do that are low risk activities, and the kids can still enjoy Halloween.
That's a good plan. Dr. Hart, anything else we forgot to get to before I let you go here?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's Dr. Hart, Dr. John Hart, pediatrician over at Mercy Health. If somebody wants to make an appointment with you, get a hold of you, how should they do that?
They can call our office at 815-971-8998.
Outstanding. Dr. John Hart from Mercy Health, thank you for joining us.